Hey guys, welcome to the channel and welcome back to another live video. Today's topic, guys, can you still get rich starting from nothing in America today? That's the question, okay? Thumbnail, I think it said, is the American dream dead or is it not dead? So that's the point. That's the question for today, guys. And we're going to have a conversation about it, about the American dream. What is the American dream? Is it still attainable? Is it still possible? Can you still actually build some wealth or become wealthy uh, from this American dream that we've always kind of put at the top on a pedestal as a grasp, something for everybody to grasp, right? Can you still get rich in America today? Let's have this conversation about whether or not this American dream that we all know and have heard about and have read about, learned about, is it still true today? 2020, whatever when, 2024, 5, 23, 24, 25. As you come in, guys, do me a favor and let me know where you're checking in from. Let me know what city, what state, and what country. All right. We're also going to do a little live Q&A, question and answer, and have some fun with that kind of in the second half of today's broadcast, guys. And so we want to first kind of define the American dream and talk a little bit about what it is, and we'll talk about what I think as well. And then I want to hear from you guys as well. And I really want to open up the dialogue and have this conversation. So let's see where you're coming in from, guys. Let me know you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a city, state, or country that you're checking in from as you come in. Bert, thanks, Bert, for checking me out for the last few months, and you're in Dallas, Texas. Got any questions, man? Let me know. I can always help you a little further. How you doing? From Palm Desert, California, Johnny's checking in. One conservative is checking in from Savannah, Georgia. And then someone is checking in from the Netherlands. Good to have you. Atlanta's in the house. Good to have you. Morocco is in the house. West Coast, Northwest coast of Africa. Fantastic. And we got Memphis, Tennessee, Shelby County checking in. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We always get folks from all over the country, and I think this all over the world. And I think this type of conversation is important because as we have all these different people come in, even to this chat from around the world and around the country, it's good to have different perspectives in the chat, different perspectives in the group, right? All of these folks, we see people trying to get into America constantly for one reason or another, right? Whatever you might think they're trying to get into America from, on the East Coast and the southern border of America, they're coming here. Now, what are they coming here for? That's another question. That's another question, right? We don't not sure what they're coming for, but for hundreds of years, people have traveled and tried and wanted to get to America to pursue what we consider to be, or what we've heard about as the American dream, so to speak, right? But so we talk to a lot of folks on this broadcast from all around the world, and I like to have and see and get and read different perspectives. I'll read all the chats, all what you guys are chatting. I read them all after the broadcast. I go back and see which ones I missed, etc. But we also have a lot of Americans who don't like America, who don't like the system of America. They may like some of the perks of America, the pros of America, but there's some cons in America too. There's a lot of people, Americans, that don't like capitalism, right? And don't like the way capitalism is practiced. And there's a lot of folks that are leaving America too, right? Believe it or not, there's folks coming in, but there's folks going out as well. People are leaving for other countries, be it, Costa Rica, Portugal, Australia, whatever it may be. People are leaving too, right? So what is really going on when we see people coming, we see people going, what's going on with this American dream, right? And I put that in quotes, right? You got people wanting to get here and they're risking their life to get here, literally risking their life and dying on the way over here. And then you got some Americans that are breaking their necks to get out of America, right? So I definitely want to dig into that a little bit more on this and have some general question and answer on this video as well, guys. We got Miami, Memories in Action, checking in from, I'm sorry, Mia. Hi, Mia from Atlanta. I'm sorry. Modesto, California is here as well. Starkville, Mississippi, right. I wonder that's from Batesville and from Shaw, right? That's where my parents are from. So let's see. Yalabusha County, Mississippi today, down the road from Sardis. Yes, I have a lot of family that was in Sardis in the 1830s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 80s, in Sardis, Mississippi, which is Panola County as well. Fort Wayne, Indiana's here. Columbia, Patrick in Columbia, South Carolina. Good to have you here, guys. As you come in, do me a favor, smash the like button for me. And feel free. We're going to have some conversation. Feel free to have the conversation in the chat. I'll be checking the chat as well as we kind of talk about some of these things. And I want to hear your input, by the way, guys. I like to get a little feedback from you guys as well when we have these types of conversations. And then we can do a Q&A here as well, right? It's going to be a little Q&A as well. But we're really talking about, can you still get rich from nothing, starting with nothing in America, zero, right? And we all know people that have started with nothing and have maybe become wealthy, become rich, or at least had a measure of wealth. And guys, I like to say, well, what is wealth? In my mind, wealth is sort of we have to come up with something, right? There's a lot of different ways to be wealthy. We know that. We did a show about that a week ago, 2 weeks ago, about what is real wealth. Wealth can be a lot of things: wealth in family, friends, health, spiritual, etc. But when we're talking about wealth or the American dream on this video, we want to talk about wealth in terms of dollars. And so I always look at maybe the $1 million mark as being the litmus test, right? The $1 million net worth, not just having $1 million worth of stuff, right? But actually having $1 million net worth is what I look at as being sort of the measure, right? The measuring stick for wealth, right? Now, don't get me wrong. If you have $750,000 in America as your net worth, you still have a measure of wealth, and you can live comfortably the rest of your life, depending on your age, obviously, and your lifestyle. But you can live comfortably the rest of your life if you have a $750,000 net worth. Okay. But when we talk about wealth and being rich, I like to kind of put it at a million and up, right? In terms of net worth. So if we're talking about that, can you get there from zero today? Well, we know that I'm an example of getting there, but I was born in 1970. So I'm an example, but I'm an example that's done. And really, to be honest with you guys, in the last, I'd say 8 or 9 years, my net worth has really grown, right? My net worth has really grown. I did all these good things all the while from 2000 when I had a negative $30,000 net worth, all the way up until maybe 2013. I might have had a $100,000 net worth in 2013. And then in 2015, 16, it began to grow. In 2017, when I became Smart Money Bro, my net worth was only $250,000 in 2017. That was my net worth. Over the last 6 years, my net worth has ballooned because I'm heavy in the market. I'm also heavy, I won't say heavy, but I'm in real estate as well. I have some rental properties and so forth. And so those things have really boosted my net worth. So 7-figure net worth for me really happened in the last year and a half is when that 7-figure net worth for me kicked in as I paid down debt all these years and I increased my asset side of the equation. So I did it, but I didn't do it till late, right? It's not like I was 30 years old and became a millionaire or became a net worth millionaire. It took a long time, right? Not until I was over 50, which the average age, in terms of if you go back to Ramsey Solutions information analytics, they surveyed 10,000 millionaires in America. The average age was like 49 or 50 years old. So I was right on the money with that, 49, 50 years old when I became a net worth millionaire. But the point is that, that's kind of how I measure it, if you're rich, not rich. We can measure it in a ton of different ways, right? We can sit here all day and talk about the different ways to measure what rich is, right? Some people say rich is not till you get to $10 million in net worth. Some folks say rich is not until you get to $50 million, right? It all depends, right? You ask that question to 100 people, what is a million or what is a rich or wealthy in America? You're going to get a lot of different answers. So I like to cap it and put a number on it at $1 million net worth. So I want to focus on this question. Let me see. Go back here, guys. You got Columbia. We got Weathersfield, Connecticut, way up northeast. Good to have you here. We got Savannah, Georgia again. Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Good to have you from Jersey. Times are tough right now, said Donna, but history shows us there are good times and bad times. Just need to preserve. Good point, Donna. I appreciate you throwing that in there. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, from the DNV area, is here as well. Good to have you. Jersey, Great Britain. What's that mean? All right. So I want to focus on this question of the American dream. I think we first have to sort of define, and we're going to do a little Q&A here, guys, as well. Also, smash the like button. If you're not a part of this channel, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to this channel. I really would appreciate it. And share the link to this video, right? This is a conversation starter that a lot, you sit around the house and you need to have this conversation, maybe with your young folks that are around there in the 20s and 30s, and say, hey, is it possible today to still do this? Because we get a lot of feedback today that says you can't do this, right? There's no way in the world. It's totally impossible. The way prices are nowadays and inflation now, it's no way. So we get that conversation, and a lot of people believe that. A lot of people believe that. And as you guys, if you listen to some of my videos here on YouTube, you'll see that I'm a big believer in that your belief makes a big difference in where you go. If you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can't. Your belief plays a big role. So there's this pessimism about it. And I want to just have a conversation with you. I'll share my views as well. But I'm curious how you guys believe. Is the American dream really, in terms of money and finances, is it really out there? Is it freedom? Is it money? Is it opportunity? What is this American dream that which everybody's trying to get to, or a lot of people are trying to get to? And by the way, guys, 2 days ago, because of the holidays, I didn't have a live. I usually go live on Thursdays at 4:30 p.m., but I didn't do that live show because it was Thanksgiving. So this is kind of our show of the week, and I may go live again, perhaps quicker than next Thursday as well. So be looking for that. Again, share the video, share the link. Don't forget in the box below, description below, there's a 24 Laws of Money as well. Check that out. It's just my free gift to you. 24 Laws of Money, Principles of Money that helped me grow my net worth over the last 20 years or so. And then we got one-on-one coaching down there. Also, I got to mention up front before we dig deep, big shout out to Mint Mobile. If you want to save money on your wireless bill, I use Mint Mobile. Check out Mint Mobile's premium wireless service. I have partnered with them recently, and I use their wireless service, and I'm impressed by it. All right, this channel is all about saving money, and Mint Mobile is definitely a way you can save money on your wireless bill, and get premium wireless service too. Right, so there'll be a description or a link to that in the box below as well. They're built on the nation's largest 5G network. So, and they also keep their costs low because they don't have stores. Right, there's no store where you can go for Mint Mobile, so they don't have salespeople and all that stuff. So, doesn't take much to switch over. Good place to be. I like it, and it's saving me a ton of money. Right, so let's talk first and foremost, guys. Again, let me know where you're from in the chat. I want to know. New York City? Good. Excellent. New York City or New York State, upstate? So let's see here. Boom, 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 boom. Easy to be pessimistic. Yep. So again, all right. So again, sometimes we have people from all over the world in this chat. So I want to get your perspective. If you're not in America, I want to hear from you specifically also, because I want to know what your thoughts is on the American dream. You give us a different perspective, and we need to hear. I'm curious about that perspective. There's a bigger world out there than just America, right? There's a lot of people out there that have less freedoms than Americans have. And because sometimes in America, we're sort of in a cocoon, right? Chilling in a cocoon, and our lens is jaded and fuzzy, and it's faded by the stuff that we are told and taught in America, right? A lot of times in America, they only show one perspective. We only know. A lot of folks, not everybody. Some people read and research and do a little more digging, but a lot of folks only know what they hear about the Sudan, Cameroon, South Africa, Australia, right? Taiwan, China. Sometimes we only know what's put before us by the news, right? We only see America from our own viewpoint, and we don't really know how the world sees America. and views America and this so-called American dream, right? So it's good to get these different perspectives. Um, so what is the American dream, right? What is the American dream, right? Let's talk about what the American dream is first. The American dream is what? And you help me with this, guys. The belief that what? Anyone can, regardless of where they were born or what class they're in, they were born poor, middle class, had some money, anybody can attain a version of success and wealth, money, become a millionaire, become rich, have become, get over a seven-figure net worth in in this society, right? That's sort of the outline of the American dream. Upward mobility is possible for everyone, is what the American dream sort of says, right? So, in other words, the American dream is kind of rooted in this belief that every single individual, no matter what their religion is, right? No matter what their color is, no matter what their gender or background, right? No matter where they come from, anybody has the opportunity to achieve success or, achieve financial success, since we're talking about finances, right? And mobility, the ability to go up with your money, to come from nothing and go up with your money is there for anybody. Basically anybody, right? Social mobility through things like, and this is part of American dream, right? Hard work, perseverance, sticking it out, right? So this American dream, even financially, from a financial standpoint, kind of embodies these notions of things like equality, right? Equality is a big one. You hear about equality quite a bit. Freedom, right? Freedom is a big one, right? Freedom, our freedoms, right? And I think the other big piece of that was the pursuit of happiness, right? The pursuit of happiness, whatever that is, right? These are all buzzwords, right? But the freedom and equality, and I call them buzzwords, right? Because, well, my question to you is, do you believe that to be true? Do you believe, this is my question for you, drop your answer in the chat for me. Do you believe that that version of the American dream that I just described, the belief that every individual, regardless of race, color, creed, gender, whatever you call it, all those things, regardless of all that, do you believe that anybody, for the most part, right, can get to financial success, can become a millionaire, can move up the social ladder or the economic ladder in America through hard work and perseverance, right? And they can get can have, and everybody has freedom, and everybody has equality, and everybody is free to have their pursuit of happiness. Do you believe that to be true? Whether you're from America or not from America, I want to know from you, right? Hey, Scott, good to have you here. Sad to say, but America, somebody said America and going into madness, and then possibly in WW3, right? Open borders, and somebody said American dream, we have so many choices, where to live, what kind of careers we want to choose, etc. So Donna said lots of choices. Yes, we do have a lot of choices in America. I can agree to that absolutely. And then Alvira said, I believe the American dream, but it's a long, slow, boring ride. That's the tough part. Okay, I totally understand that statement. Absolutely. But my point is this, if whether you believe it or not, it's out there. Whether it's a mirage or not, it's kind of what people think, right? It's sort of the what's been sold to us, right? The American dream has been sold to us, and is it propaganda? Is it not propaganda? All right. But why? Okay, so if you believe the American dream to be true, why do you believe it to be true? Somebody already said we have a lot of freedoms. We have plenty of freedoms, and we can do what we want to do. But if not, why do you think the American dream is not realistic and it's just a mirage or it's just a facade, right? Some people say yes. Looks like in the chat, some folks say yes. The American dream the mirage is a dream, the worst fable ever told, says Alvira. We have too many entities that are working to keep status quo. Yeah. And memories and actions say yes. Yes, I believe the American dream, but it's a long, slow, boring. Okay, so it's the 2.5 kids, the house, the picket fence, white picket fence, right? You know, that's sort of what is the American dream, sort of consist of, right? Somebody else said it's marketing. It's sort of marketing, it's sort of propaganda. Leona said, I live in Japan and live part of the year in Southeast Asia. Everything USA is way overpriced, overtaxed. It hinders with saving and investing compared to living in other countries. It's an excellent point. I've talked to people from and in Portugal. I've talked to people from and in other parts of the world, right? Brazil, etc. And they all say the same thing. The prices in America are very, very high, right? The prices in America are super duper high. So I totally understand what you said, Leona. I've heard that quite a bit. Good point. And of course, T-Bone said it's marketing. A millionaire is definitely possible, but we were not all the same level of freedom. That's a good point, Patrick. Out of the 4 siblings in my family, we have 2 millionaires and one on the way. You can't tell me it's not possible. So yeah, Patrick said, hey, it is possible. LB says consumerism chokes us. It does choke us. But the beauty about consumerism is you can kind of take those hands off your neck that's choking you, right? Consumerism does choke us, but you can kind of take and gently remove, slowly with discipline, those hands around our neck. I think anyone can make the American dream in any country, in the world. It depends on the person and behavior. Sorry for my English. It's okay. So yeah, I understand that. Anybody can make the American dream happen in other parts of the world. That's a good point. Happy, I agree with you on that. I have faith that we are not at the point where we can't reverse. The American dream has a lot to do with how the foreign world exchanges. Yes, it does to a point. Absolutely. So makes sense what you guys are saying. Now, let's talk about what makes up the American dream, right? Because it's not just money. Money is a big part of it, obviously. And we're talking about money, but there's other things, right? In terms of like owning property, housing, right? What is it, if we look at what does it take to own a home today, right? The down payment, the appraisal. There's a lot more to owning a home right now in America than just, the monthly payment, right? There's way more to it. But, can anyone own a home in America today? Can almost anyone with the right behaviors own a home in America today? Right? That's part of the American dream, home ownership, right? It's been pushed for 40 and 50 and 60 years, right? And of course, it is marketing because the more that housing is pushed or owning a home is pushed, the more that's pushed, the more people are going to want to desire it. And it's going to keep an industry alive, right? All marketing and propaganda or whatever it may be keeps an industry alive. There's a housing industry. If everybody in America today chose to rent, then the housing market would tank and millions of people would be without work. There's, construction firms would no longer have any new buildings to put up. People that work in the administrative side of real estate would have no more closings and things like that, or whatever they'd have closing, but they have half as many because most people weren't buying homes. So there's a whole industry out there. There's a whole industry. So there's a reason that they push that American dream because it keeps that housing industry flowing, right? But what does it take? Obviously, we know there's down payment, appraisal costs, inspection fees, there's closing costs, insurance, property taxes, you name it. Maybe even private mortgage insurance, PMI. There's a lot of things that it takes to own a home. Right now, we know that rates in America for mortgages are in the sevens, or are they close to 8 by now? The point is that, or they might come back down a little bit as well. But they kind of fluctuate a little bit, right? But rates, interest rates, what money cost, right? Some people say, hey, that's a scam. Money shouldn't cost anything, right? But buying a home is part of the American dream process, right? It's part of the process. And, is home ownership possible, right? Interest rates have been above 7% for the last few months, right? And that's the highest level that money has cost to buy a house in 20 years, since the early 2000s, right? So, and these elevated rates, higher interest rates are causing people not to sell their home because a lot of people are locked in at lower rates, right? They have a 2 or 3% rate mortgage. They don't want to trade that to go get a 7% mortgage, higher cost of money. So all these things are happening that, in the housing market? Is it possible for a person born today, let's say born 5, 10 years ago, to actually buy a home in 5 years, right? Supply has been really, really low. We know that. But we also know that there's some behaviors involved too, right? So that's something to think about as well. Let's see here. Island said, I own 3 homes, 2 paid in cash, and working on the 3rd right now. Island said, America is the best place in the world to get rich. Capitalism works. I started with nothing, moved to Florida in 1994, and made it happen. There's so many stories like that. Like Island Eric just said, there's so many stories of people that have come from nothing and moved up, right? And so when we look at the stats say one thing, but then we hear stories like Island Eric that says you can do it. Or you hear stories like my story, right? My story, straight from the inner city. When I say inner city, I mean straight from apartment living, after I was 10 years old, single parent home. Before that, mother and father married. After that, single parent home. But, have, nothing, zero. Had a negative net worth at the age of 30. I was poor until I was 40 years old. So I kind of understand that, Island Eric, when he says, hey, I started with nothing and it can be done. Yeah, we did it, right? There's a lot of examples of people like me and him, but there's a lot of stats and things telling us that, hey, wait a minute, the American dream may not be that easy, or may not be easy at all. It's not easy at all, but it may not be easy, right? For some people, for a lot of people, right? And it may not be there. Business building. Okay, here's another component of the American dream. Can anyone in America start a business? Can anyone in America build a business? Become an entrepreneur. See a problem and go fix the problem. See a problem and create a business around the problem. Market it, campaign it, and meet the needs of other people by starting a business. No matter what the business is. We might have business owners right here in the chat, right? If you're a business owner, and you're watching this on replay, drop a comment, let me know. The business ownership component of the American dream, is it still alive? Right? We talked about housing, but what about building a business, starting a business, entrepreneurship? Is it possible in America today? Still, right now, right? That's what we want to be thinking about when we talk about the fact of, can you still get rich starting from nothing in America? Is the American dream dead or alive, right? Can anyone start? What's it take to start a business, right? First, it takes a belief. Everything starts here first, right? I'm a big believer in that, guys. Everything starting with your money starts right here. I had to conceive and think about jumping on this broadcast with you guys and having a Saturday 11 a.m. show to talk about money issues. I had to conceive that first before it actually happened, right? And negatively, too, everything starts in the mind as well, right? So not just positive, but the negative things, too, in terms of your money. So, but you got to believe you can start a business before you can start a business, or else you won't even start it. But you got to start a business, and it takes, maybe does it take capital to start a business? I don't know. You tell me. Does it take capital to start a business? Now, I've started businesses with no capital. So I'm going to tell you that I don't believe necessarily it takes money to start a business. But it also depends on the business, right? Some businesses do require some upfront capital, right? Some don't. Now, the businesses I've started, I have a business called Smart Money Bro, LLC, right? Smart Money Bro, where I help people one-on-one, small group settings, help people with their finances, their personal finances, managing their money, right? Becoming a better steward over their finances. I didn't start that with any capital. No capital. Started with an idea and, some little marketing, some social media, boom, and it's going, it's flowing, right? YouTube channel, etc. is a part of that, right? So, but can anybody, what is your belief? Because everybody doesn't believe the way I believe, and I understand and respect that. So what is your belief, right? What is your belief about that? Can anybody start a business today in America? Right? That's the question. Thanks so much for the super chat, Scott. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your support on this channel, Scott Hernandez. Thank you so much. But that's the question for you guys, right? These are components of the American dream. Housing, right? And I know housing has been crazy, really, in terms of, say, rents have gone up quite a bit, right? We know that. We know all the issues going on there. We know, of course, as we said, interest rates. And then starting a business can be hard because, listen, access to capital, let's just call it what it is, because I don't have my head buried in the sand. Access to capital is not the same for everybody in America, right? Point blank. Access to capital is not the same for all groups of Americans, right? It just isn't, right? And I could pull out statistic after statistic to show that if you're an African American or a black person in America, your access to capital for crowdfunding and to go get that $10 million you need to get, you want to get going, it's not going to be the same for everybody. It's going to be a much harder time for you, right, than it would for some other folks. So I don't have my head buried in the sand. We know that there's some issues there in terms of inequalities and so forth. But can you start a business maybe on a shoestring budget? Maybe you got to be a little more flexible, right? That's the question. But I don't want to ignore reality when we answer these questions, right? Right? Here's another piece to the American dream. Another piece to the American dream is not just housing, not just can you start a business, but investing your money as you choose and participating in the stock market. Is that open to everybody as a part of the American dream? Right? Is the stock market and investing and growing your money in stocks? Because when you invest in stocks, you're just investing in businesses, right? Basically, you're investing in businesses. Can you invest in businesses today? Can anybody do that? Is it available? Is that piece to the American dream available for most folks? Right? Your pensions and your 401ks and so forth. And we know that there's a difference now than there was 50 years ago in pensions, right? A lot of companies don't offer pensions where they pay you for the rest of your life, even after you retire and stop working, right? But do they offer 401ks where you can actually put a piece of your money towards your loan, the old you, right? 401ks, 403bs, 457s, all these different types of plans that you could put towards, maybe Roth IRAs, maybe a traditional retirement account, right? So can you do that today in America? These are questions that I want you to ask yourself these questions, because oftentimes when we have this conversation, the knee-jerk reaction for a lot of people is, no way, the American dream is not out. You can't do this in America today. No way. That's the knee-jerk reaction. But I want us to have a little more thought-provoking conversation around it, more of a thought-provoking look at this. Realistically, too. Thanks so much, LB, for the super chat. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Great work. Thank you so much, LB, and thanks again for supporting this channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Leona. Thank you so much. So, but that's what we want. We want to ask the question in a realistic way, because two things can be true at one time, right? Inequalities can exist and the American dream can still happen at the same time, right? In my opinion, right? But let's look at like wages, okay, or jobs. Look at jobs. Jobs. Currently, the unemployment rate, I think the last check was 3.9% was the unemployment rate, and we know that how they measure the unemployment rate is based on those that are looking for work. There's a lot of people that's not looking for work that don't get counted in these official unemployment numbers, but 3.9% is what it was. That's up actually from the last 6 or 7 months where it's been 3.4, 3.5, 3.7. It's up to 3.9% now, which is what the Fed kind of wants to see. I don't want to get too deep in the conversation about the Fed, but every time the Fed raises their Fed funds rate slightly, typically the unemployment rate is supposed to go up too, right? There's a correlation between the rate hikes that the Federal Reserve does and the unemployment rate. Because as the Fed fund raises rates, businesses and all that, businesses, individuals, it's harder to borrow money. It costs more to borrow money. If it costs more to borrow money, businesses won't be out there borrowing and have to start cutting. What do they cut? They usually cut their labor, because labor is the largest it costs the most for most businesses. So they cut labor. So when rates go up, businesses ultimately cut labor, and that makes the unemployment rate go up, right? More people become unemployed. So that's kind of what that correlation, how that correlation works. But that didn't happen for a long time. It's still not happening the way that they thought it should. This is kind of a new thing. They don't see it going up the way it should. Typically when the Fed raises rates like they've raised in the last year or two, unemployment rate is going to go to 5, 6, 7%. It didn't happen because they say the economy is so strong in America, right? But what about wage gaps? Wage gaps by race, by gender. That's a thing. Okay, let's not ignore those things as well. We can't some of us will say the American dream is alive and well. Well, we got to also think about, now this is the deeper conversation. The deeper conversation is, what about black men in America who make 85 cents for every dollar that a white male makes? Or if you're talking about gender, women in America on average earning about 77 cents for every dollar that a white male makes in America, right? And that gender gap hasn't changed much in the last 20 years, right? Latino women are paid 52 cents for every dollar that a white male makes. Same education, right? Same experience, same education, as they measure that. We don't want to just ignore those differences. Same thing, black women, et cetera. We don't want to just ignore these wage gap differences and say, oh, they don't exist. We know they exist. They do exist, right? Again, my head is not buried in the sand. I'm not the guy that's going to come on here and tell you, forget all that. You can still do it, right? I won't say it that way, but I may say something similar, right? But what about college degrees, right? We got to think about college degrees. Are college degrees worth the cost? According to, I think it was bestcolleges.com, according to bestcolleges.com, the average cost of U.S. College tuition for undergrads, right? Anybody getting there in their first, second, third, fourth year of getting their college degree has tripled, right? It's tripled, and it's gone up way higher than just regular inflation, right? According to, all of the statistics you read about that. It's rose tremendously. So can everybody afford that college? And if they can afford it, this is what I tell people. I did a whole show about this for an hour and a half or so. Maybe you have to go to college differently if you can't afford it, to hopefully help keep your American dream alive if you want to hold on to an American dream, right? If in terms of college, in terms of going to college, getting an education, et cetera, right? Maybe you got to go slower. Maybe you got to start the community college, do it a little different to make it happen. And that's sort of a key to a lot of what I'm talking about here. But how about this? How about access to the trades? Plumbing, electrician, welders, right? Those trades, right? Pipe fitters, right? The access to those trades, right? Can anybody do that? Can anybody become a plumber today in America? I think the average plumber makes around $60,000 in America. That's the average plumber. I like to say don't be average, because if you don't be average, you can make more than that. But the average plumber makes about $60,000 in America. Around there, right? Does anybody have access to be a plumber in America? That's a question. Right? That's what we want to, these are the things we want to ask ourselves as we look at, can you still get rich starting from nothing in America? We're going to go a little deeper too. The cost of living in America, right? The cost of living in America. Now listen, a lot of folks live in bigger cities in America, right? Big cities, right? And if you live in one of the big cities, when I say big cities, I'm talking about, and these are the really, really costly cities, downtown New York, Manhattan, right? New York, downtown. Honolulu is a pretty expensive city. A few on the top list is San Francisco. If you live in, I think Brooklyn is up there too in New York, besides Manhattan. I think Brooklyn's pretty high up there. Los Angeles, DC, out in Orange County in California, Seattle, right? I think Boston's pretty high up there as well. So these are some of the most expensive cities. San Diego is up there, right? But the question becomes, okay, if you live in those big cities, maybe the American dream is not available for you in terms of cost of living there. Maybe you got to move, right? How many people in the chat have moved to make sure they can afford where they live, right? What happens with a lot of us in America is sometimes like I say, we live in a cocoon. We just get so comfortable and we don't realize that people have moved all over the world for a better life, a more affordable life for the last thousands of years, right? We just get so comfortable. We live in LA. We can't afford to live in LA based on our skill set and the amount of money that we can bring in and income we have. We can't really afford to live in the middle of Los Angeles, but we live in the middle of Los Angeles anyway. And instead of moving somewhere that's comfortable, we'd rather live poorly in a big city when we can go somewhere else. Now, this happens to people, right? And some people just can't afford it. I totally understand it. Right? Some people just can't afford to live smack dab in downtown Manhattan. Well, what do you do when you can't live in downtown Manhattan? You find a place where you can live to hopefully keep what we call the American dream, or what they call the American dream, alive, right? You may not be able to afford to live in downtown Seattle. Perhaps you have to move, right? People have moved to more affordability for thousands of years. Is it bad? Is it horrible? Yeah, we can call it bad and horrible, but it's reality, right? Somebody said overpriced degrees similar to overpriced new cars. Facts. That's true. Yeah. So these are things we got to be thinking about when we want to see, can you still get started from nothing and become rich in America? Perhaps you can't live in Honolulu. Perhaps you can't live in Boston. You got to move 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. Maybe you don't just move an hour away from Boston. Maybe you got to move down to Montgomery, Alabama. Maybe you got to move somewhere where you can afford it, right? Now, again, let's not deny that when adjusted for inflation, the wage rates have not quite kept up, right? Over the last 20, 30, 50 years have not quite kept up. So people are making comparatively slightly less, not as much as people think, right? Because I hear people all the time, young people especially today, well, back then in 1980, the average home was $85,000. Yeah, that's true. But you were also making $2, $3. Minimum, I was making $3.35 working at Burger King. Right? So we were making a lot less too, but we know that there's been a slightly more, or slightly on the edge of that. The wage rates have not quite kept up with inflation over the last 50 years or so. We know that, right? But we also know that it's not as dire as some people make it. Okay. When you read the real statistics, yes, it hasn't quite kept up, but it hasn't, floundered. Whereas, as some people would have you believe about the wage rates in America today, right? So, all these things are things that we have to consider and do a deeper dive, because there's some pieces to this that are attainable. So let me just give you my answer to the question. Can you still get rich starting from nothing in America? Is the American dream dead? The answer to that question, from my standpoint, my opinion, is no. The American dream, as they've described it to us and taught it to us, right, and marketed it to us, no, I don't think that's dead. I don't think it's dead. Some people do. And if you believe it's dead, everybody has their own opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. The beauty of this channel, the beauty of me as a person online, is that we can disagree and I still like you. We can disagree and I still respect you. It's okay. We don't all have to think alike, and you certainly don't always have to agree with everything I say. Matter of fact, I don't want you agreeing with everything I say. Please don't, because I want you to be a person that thinks on your own, right? It's cool to have a disagreement, but a disagreement doesn't mean the end of our friendship, right? I know in America that's like, most people, if you don't agree with me, I'm done with you. I'm canceling you. I don't cancel people for that. I want you to think different, because if you think different from me, it means that you're thinking. That's the whole point of what I try to do. I want you to think, right? I don't have a course to sell you. I don't have a course to sell you. You're not going to, I don't need you to agree with every single thing I say. I don't want you to, right? I want you to have your own mind and do your own research. think and develop your own philosophy around these things when it comes to, how you believe about the American dream or about anything we talk about on this channel, right? But I believe that there's portions of the American dream that are attainable still in America. But I also believe don't we have to understand that there are some drawbacks. There are some things that still exist, some inequalities, but inequalities are okay. Let me say that again. Everybody in the world, equality doesn't necessarily exist. Total equality doesn't really exist anywhere. If you go back in time, if you go back to ancient Egypt, go back to ancient wherever you want to go. I don't care, ancient Ireland. We can go anywhere in America. Even in ancient times, there was no such thing as equality. They didn't really talk about equality. Some started here, some started there. Some lived their whole life here, some lived their whole life there. Even today, some start here, some start there. We're all individual people. So equality, everybody starting from the same exact place, doesn't necessarily happen. Now, do we want to say everybody has the same exact opportunities? We can say that, right? But we can't ignore pay gaps. We can't ignore that women make less than men. We can't ignore that Black Americans make less than white American males. We cannot deny that, right? We can't just skirt over it like it's not there. It's there. But it's just something that we have to sort of overcome, right? We have to you got to sort of take where you are and go where you are. Start with what you have, no matter what you have in life, right? You got to start where you are. I didn't start with anything. John over here next to me, he started with a lot. 2 parents in the home, private school, right? Started with no debt, right? In his life, parents paid for his. That's cool. I'm not mad at John. I'm not going to go off on John. I have no reason to be mad at John. It's the way it is, the way God created us all at different points. I was born into a family that didn't have what John was born into. Doesn't make John a better human being than me. Doesn't make me a better human being than John, right? What it means is that I got a few extra bumps that I have to cross. And trust me, John over here, who started with 2 parents and had his tuition paid for in college and private school, he got bumps too. He don't have my bumps. My bumps are financial, right? It might be other things. He's got his set of problems over here too that he's got to overcome, right? So mine just happen to be financial. I got a few things I got to maneuver around. I got to change. I got to be flexible. I got to do it this way, do it that way. He ain't got to do that. But I'm also not facing some of the stuff he's facing, right? We have to realize that, everybody has issues, but this American dream is out there. And I still think that there's certain pieces of this American dream that we can accomplish, that you can do, right? Right. And some people say that's the beauty of America, right? You have the freedom to pursue it. Okay. Yeah, that's true. But also keep in mind that you have to be aware. I'm not a person that's just a blind, yeah, we can do it. No, there's also a lot of issues and problems too that need to be addressed, that can be addressed, etc. So 2 or 3 or 5 things can all be possible at the same time. The American dream can be alive, and at the same time, racism can exist at the same time, right? I don't have my head buried in the sand, all right? But many things can be true at once. Some people are going to be born with obstacles, born in poverty, born with nothing. People are born like that every day in America, right? Those people, they have extra challenges they have to overcome to get where they want to get financially in America, right? That's just my opinion, right? I think it's possible even today. I think you can still get rich starting from nothing today. Of course, there's, me and Eric here in the chat, and there's other folks. It's going to be hard for some people, harder for some people than it is for others. right? It's going to be tougher. Again, we all are born at different stages on the pendulum of wealth. On the pendulum of wealth. Some of us, like me, born with zero, kept living my life, and even by age 30, I still was negative on the pendulum. But our job is to do the best of what we have, what we're given, and try to overcome the obstacles that are put before us in our own individual life. Start where you are and go from there. This is all you really can do. Some are going to start with a lot, money, and some are going to start with nothing, zero. It's how it is, right? Let me go to the chat real quick, guys. See what you guys are talking about. Love it. Boom. You're not going to overcome. You're not going to overcome inequality, although I believe we should try as individuals. Check the logic said. Yeah, you're not going to. If you have a Q, guys, put it in the chat. I'd love to answer a few questions. You're not going to overcome inequality, although I believe we should try. It's hard to overcome inequality. Absolutely. Right. Even though no matter what, as a female in the room, you're going to be treated a little bit different sometimes. As a black man in the room, I might be treated a little bit different. The inequalities are there and they exist, right? Yep, that's true. Discourse on the origin of inequality. That sounds like a good book. Check the logic. I'm going to write that down. The older I get, the less I care about the Joneses, said Donna. Let's hit the thumbs up button. Yes, please, guys, do me that favor. Smash that thumbs up for me, please. These are the types of conversations that we need to be thinking deeply about, right? Again, this is not a 10-minute video. I could have did a 10-minute video on this, right? But I said I want to hear from you guys, and I want to have the conversation because sometimes the internet, social media, YouTube, these 5 and 10-minute quick hits, they don't do a topic justice, right? They don't do a topic justice. They hit something real fast. That's it. But I think sometimes we need to dig a little deeper into some of these topics when it comes to money, right? Please smash that thumbs up for me, guys. Don't forget to check down in the description box. Free 24 Laws of Money from me to you, right? Free ebook. Also, Mint Mobile, check them out in the description box below. Do your research. Then come back and click that link if you want. I'm partnered with them on this video. Also, don't forget, if you're watching this on replay, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the American dream, right? Is it alive or is it dead, and why? Can somebody still get rich from zero, from nothing in America? In your opinion, again, everybody's opinion is different. Everybody's opinion is respected, right? We can differ in opinion, right? Let's see. Somebody said, does financial sector of social media teach youth that everyone out here pays cash outright for homes? Is there a fantasy bar? Okay, I don't know what that means. Agree. I was born with zero, but fought my way out. Uncle Thursday, how'd you fight your way out, Uncle Thursday? What'd you do? Curious. Eric said, Highland Eric, there are always more than one way to get over the mountain. Absolutely. Some go around the mountain, go over, sometimes go. That's true. But you got to get past that mountain. Absolutely. Thanks for hitting the like button. Donna said, I started car shopping recently. As an older woman, I need to take my son along to get a fair deal. Absolutely, Donna. Whenever you shop for cars, you always take somebody along with you, at least one person, but don't take all the naysayers, just one person that knows their stuff. There's inequality everywhere, right? You almost can't get around it because everybody's different. You're going to have inequalities because everybody is different, right? And so it happens, right? Again, I start here, John starts here. I might start here, and John might start way up here, but we still got to push. I got to do what I got to do. I got to push and push and push, right? John, he may not have to push as hard. I'm not mad at John. I don't hate John. I don't call John names. I just realize in my brain that John started at a different point than I started at. It's unfair. Is it unfair? Yeah, but it's life, right? Life is unfair. Life doesn't start all of us at the same point. Never has, never will, right? Do we want the same opportunities? Absolutely, right? Should there be a group of people out there fighting for the same? Yes. You don't want to be treated unfair just because of the color of your skin, right? You don't want to be treated unfair because of that. So, of course, it's okay to fight for that. Nothing wrong with that, right? If you want to fight for that, that's good. Nothing at all. When you look back here at the books back behind me, I got all the books. Powernomics, Dr. Claude Anderson. I got When We Ruled. One of the top scholars in the world, actually, Robin Walker. Robin Walker's one of the top scholars in the world. I got all the books. I got tons of books. Not back here, but I got bookcases of books, right? So, and it explained the diaspora, right? I know it. I used to teach social studies, right? For 7 years, I taught social studies. So I understand the history. I understand the issues, the problems, and the socioeconomic issues, and the pay gaps, the wage gaps, the gender gaps in terms of money and pay and so forth. I understand those gaps and that history, and I'm saying that is true. We can't deny that. In my opinion, there's no denying that those inequalities exist and have existed, right? And still exist, right? There's still racism in America, right? We understand that, right? But I believe you can still gain a measure of wealth and become wealthy. I believe you can still start a business in America, right? And turn that business into something incredible. I believe you can still become a multimillionaire in America. I believe you still can go to college and increase your education. I believe you still can have access. You still have access to the trades, right? I believe you still have access to all of that, even though there's inequality, even though there's racism, even though, right? Again, more than one thing it's not just black or white, no pun intended, right? It's not just this or that, one thing or the other. All of it's true at the same time, right? If you believe in the American dream, yes, the American dream, you don't have to also believe that there's no racism. No, you can believe that the American dream is alive and well, and there's racism at the same time. I believe that you can get a job at 25 years old, start putting money towards your 401k, and then in 15, 20 years, have $1 million in there. I believe you can do that. That's possible. You can invest your money in the stock market, index funds, individual stocks, 401k. You can invest your money, and through investments over a long time, as somebody said, you can become a millionaire, right? I believe it's possible to buy a home in America today, to save up your money, buy a home, and live life. I believe you can join the FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early. I believe you can do that in America still today, right? So you would ask me, is the American dream still possible? Guys, put a Q in front of your question in the chat, by the way. Let's have more of a question, Q&A here in a bit. If you ask me, is the American dream dead? I would say no. If you ask me, can you still get rich from starting from nothing in America? I would say yes. I would also say some people are going to face more challenges than others. Some people are going to face more hardship than others. Some people are going to face ageism, right? Discrimination because of your age. Some people are going to face discrimination because of your gender. Some people are going to face discrimination because of your race. Yes, you will. That makes it tougher. That makes it harder. Is it right? Is it wrong? Of course it's wrong, right? That you may not have the same opportunity that others have. Yes, it's wrong. It's not right. Is it reality? Yes, it's reality. Some start with a lot, some start with a little, some start with nothing, right? We can complain about it, right? We can complain. There's nothing wrong with fighting for, equal opportunity and all that. That's good. Nothing wrong with that at all. But, you still got to go out there and overcome obstacles. If you want to make what I believe the American dream, whatever it looks like, you can still make it happen, right? It's part of why I'm here on YouTube in front of you, because I believe you can make that happen. If I didn't believe that you could make that happen, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel. My whole YouTube channel is about the fact that, you can do it. You can still do it. That's what the whole YouTube channel is about. I don't care about your age. I don't care about where you come from. I don't care. I say I don't care. I care, but I'm not, those things don't have to deter you. They don't have to hold you back. They can hold you back as much as you allow them to hold you back. I told you, I come from inner city. Poverty, right? I know what it's like to be on welfare. I know what it's like to have food stamps, right? My mother, as I was older, she did as best she could, right? And she ended up going back to school to get her GED and to get her associate's degree to become an RN into her 40s, right? So she could make more money. So it doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter the circumstance. You're going to have, some people have big, huge, huge obstacles in front of them. Huge obstacles in terms of finances. Some folks really have huge obstacles. I understand those obstacles financially. I understand them very, very well. With that said, you just got to get over those obstacles. You got to find a way around them, under them. As somebody said in the chat, you got to find a way to, because you can't, you're gonna get further by working on how to get around the obstacles than you can just complaining about the obstacles, right? We know they're there. They are there. We're not denying that. The head is not buried in the sand. But the reason I have this channel is so that we can break those financial generational curses that keep you down, right? And what I talk about a lot, I got a whole playlist of over 100 different videos talking about how you think, your mindset, your belief system. That's the first step to getting a piece of what's called the American dream, right? So I could sell you a lot of negativity about the American dream. I could sell you I could have a big old hundreds of videos about how the American dream is dead. And if you go on YouTube right now, you look at some of the people that have YouTube channels that talk about you can't get ahead in America. America's this, America's, and talks down about it. They have millions, some of them have millions of followers, right? But I take a different spin because I'm a different person. I believe that you can do it because I did it, and I want to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to think differently. I want to show you how to handle money differently. I want to show you how to manage money differently. I want to show you how to be a little more disciplined. I want to show you how you can make it work for you. I want to show you that, hey, I do believe and understand that there's isms that take place in America, but guess what? Here's how you can overcome those isms. Here's how you can change that thing around. Change your own narrative in your own brain and start to win with money. Here's what you got to do. Here's the 7 or 8 steps you got to do. That's what this channel is all about. It's about what can you do to get over the obstacles, the financial obstacles. So with that said, sure, I believe that, yes, it's alive and you can do it, but you don't have to do it blindly or naively. You can do it. You can get over all your obstacles that are in front of you financially here in America, but you can still understand that those obstacles exist for some people and the isms are there at the same time, right? That's my take on it, right? What say you? What do you guys think about that in terms of, let me see. Oh, Green Level, does the anti-debt movement make youth believe they need to pay cash? I don't know what that meant. I read that earlier. I always go way back too far when I look at these comments. The dream is alive and well as long as you're willing to work 50 plus hours. Yeah. See, Texas said that. You could be right about that. You're going to have to work a little extra. You may have to do a little extra for a while. Until I haven't worked 40 hours a week in 20 years. 23 years maybe. 1999, 1998. I worked at Circuit City. I worked at Dillard's selling shoes. I worked at Home Depot. I had rental properties. So I started doing rental properties in the early 2000s, 2001. And I've always put in extra hours beyond my job. It's just been a lifestyle for me, so I'm used to it. So you could be right about that, see, Texas. You just got to put in a little extra work above and beyond your 40 hours. Maybe that's the key for some people, right? One Uncle Thursday said, I use the military as a conduit to success in the civilian sector. Congratulations, right? So you found a way around those bumps and those hills and mountains and those barriers that were put up before you, right? And self-taught myself investing is what Uncle Thursday said. That's what I did. Same exact thing. We got similar stories. Self-taught. That's a big piece. Learning how to be self-taught, self-motivated. I hear from a lot of people that send me emails all the time, and they tell me, I wouldn't learn this thing in my country, but there's nobody to teach me. Let me explain this to you guys. There's nobody to teach you 95% of everything that you need to learn in the world. There's nobody to teach you how to parent. There's nobody to teach you what decision to make on this and what decision to make on that. You ain't gonna always have people to teach you. You have to you have to learn how to be self-taught, motivate yourself. That's huge, right? All the successful people I talk to, whenever I talk to a person that's been successful in any area of life, whether it's career, family, whatever it is, most of them didn't have anybody to teach them. They sort of, kind of either learned and studied and researched on their own to get to the level that they're at. You have to be I say you have to. It helps tremendously if you're a self-starter who doesn't mind teaching yourself, right? When I started my eBay business back in 2013, I learned how to sell from eBay on the internet. There was a lady on the internet who was doing it. I said, man, that's pretty cool. That's 2013. I said, let me figure out, okay, ship this way, do this, clean this shoe up this way. Oh, okay, cool. So I had to learn how to do that. I started this YouTube channel. I had to learn how to do camera. I had to learn how to do microphone. I had to learn how to do live StreamYard, right? I had to learn how to do all these things on my own. Nobody was teaching. I had to go seek out the person that had the information. When I learned to do rental houses in the year 2000, I had to go seek out a handyman and ask him, can I follow you for no pay on the weekends? Because I want to learn. I don't know anything. I never owned a home. I'm 29 years old. I don't know anything. I need to know what's behind that wall, that drywall. I had to go find him. He didn't just appear, right? Like a genie on TV. I had to go get him. You got to go get what you want. The information that you want, you got to go get it. And sometimes there's nobody to teach you the right way to do what you want to do financially. Right? A lot of us nowadays, a lot of us have free access to YouTube. Free access. YouTube is like the greatest university of all time, right? There's all kind of information on YouTube. Right? John Joe said, I joined the Army to get out of the hood. Best decision I ever made, but still did not use the GI Bill. Addiction got the best of me, John Joe said, but I used the VA to go to rehab. Congratulations on 20 years clean, John Joe. Congratulations to you, brother. I appreciate you. And been working at the VA for 18 years. That's awesome, man. That's an awesome story. Love to hear stuff like that. Check the Logic said there are a lot of black millionaires in America, right? That's right. There's a lot of black American millionaires in America today. So yeah, we all have obstacles. We just got to figure out how to get around these obstacles. That's the kicker. And we got to have the motivation to get around them. Right? And that's the kicker. Island Eric said, finding a mentor. A mentor is cool, right? I mentor several folks on a regular basis, right? Again, I have a one-on-one coaching and so forth that I do with folks, coaching and mentoring in terms of personal finances. And I mentor folks, right? There's some I just, they just give me a call every now and then. We have a conversation. Sometimes the mentoring is paid for. Sometimes it's not paid for, right? Because I don't make a living off of my coaching, right? I don't have to feed my family on coaching. I just simply, that's something I do to help people out, right? So, like Donna said, your mindset is huge. How do you believe about this American dream? How do you believe it? If you believe you can start from nothing, then guess what? You can do it. If you don't believe you can do it, you can't do it. Right? I see someone said we spend based on our values, change situation. Okay, that's a good point. LB said, I've never owned a new car. I stopped spending a lot on clothes years ago. Exactly. It's not the sexy thing to do. Like she said, it's not the sexy thing to do, like LB said. But, your values, right? That's gonna really force you in a lot of different directions. What do you value the most? You can look at somebody's checkbook and you can see what they value the most, checkbook or checking account, right? But it's just an interesting conversation, guys, that we need to have. And sometimes we have one side of the equation. Oh, the American dream is dead. You can't do that. Look at the inflation, right? They say, look at the inflation, but they don't talk about the 10 years inflation was around 1.5%, 2%. or the 10 years when the interest rate to buy a home was around 2.5%, 3%. What about all those good years, right? We can't just look at inflation in the last year when it's been out of control, crazy year or two, when it's been out of control, and say, that's America. See, the American dream is dead because of inflation. Well, the inflation had been low for a lot of years, right? Money was costing 2 and 3% for 10 or 12 years. Which may have led to why we're in this issue we're in right now. One of the reasons, right? Because of the Federal Reserve's quantitative easing mantra. That's a whole nother conversation. But the point is that there's always these obstacles, guys, right? Some people, let's see here. Virus said, kudo. Hey, thank you, JT Coin Rings. JT Coin Rings. Check his channel out when you guys get a chance. Great guy. Good to have you, JT, and thanks for your support as always. I appreciate you. So that's my take on, can you still get rich starting from nothing in America? Can you still get rich, right? That's what I believe, guys. That's what this channel is all about. It's not about me telling you what to think. It's about me giving you information, you applying that information to your life and your circumstances, whatever your barriers are, whatever your bumps in the road and mountains and hills are that you have to overcome. Because I always say this, personal finance is personal. Everybody's situation is personal. Everybody's background is original. Everybody's where you are with your money and what you pay on every single month, your bills each month, that's unique to you. So there's a few things in the money space that are universal, right? A few things that are universal and apply to all of us. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily apply to every single person because everybody's situation is unique. Your rise to get to the American dream is different than the next person's rise to try to achieve the American dream. Again, the bumps in the road are as unique as we are unique, right? Everybody's situation with their money is as unique as we are unique. That's why you have to learn to not just take all the information, but take it and apply it to your own situation, right? Some of us are facing racism right now at the job, corporate America, facing racism Monday. When you go back to work, you're going to be facing racism. And you feel it's racism. You're looking at how they treat everybody. You know what they pay everybody. You're facing racism, right? It's a real thing. For those of you that would say, ageism, racism, women get treated different than men, that stuff is real. And I'm not denying that stuff is real. I'm not denying that. It's real. That stuff happens. And we have to not be so insensitive that we just overlook it and ignore it. Act like it doesn't appear or doesn't happen. No, it happens, right? Every single day all across this nation, people are being mistreated because of the color of their skin or because of their religion, whatever it may be, or because of their ethnic background, right? This person comes from, Pakistan or Iraq, and they're treated different than the Americans are treated. That stuff is alive and well. No denying that at all. Okay? We have to be able to admit that and at the same time say, well, how can we overcome these barriers that are out there? LB, thank you so much for the super sticker. Man, I appreciate that so much. I appreciate you doing that. I certainly appreciate that support more than you know. So it means a lot to me. Thank you so much. So we really have to do that, guys. Understand the barriers, but at the same time, we got to formulate a plan. And this is why if you face these type of barriers, sometimes you have to be more strategic. You have to plan things out even more. That means you have to be even more frugal with your money. If you start with certain barriers, if I'm here, I start life here and I'm working hard to get up here and John has already started up here next to me, he ain't got to work as hard. I got to do stuff different. I got to be more flexible. Maybe I can't spend $500 on a concert. Maybe I can't go to Dubai this year. Doesn't mean I can't have fun. Doesn't mean I can't enjoy life. It just means I have to be a little more flexible to achieve this piece of American dream or this getting rich. For John, who starts life with $100,000 in his bank account at the age of 21, and I start life at the age, I start my financial journey at the age of 30 with nothing. It just means I have to be a little more frugal. I have to be a little more creative. I got to go around these barriers that John don't have to go around. I'm not mad at John. I'm not going to complain about John. I'm going to say, okay, where am I at? What do I need to do to get to where I want to go? That's focusing more on you than focusing on the people around you, which is what a lot of people don't do. They want to focus on the system. They want to focus on capitalism. They want to focus on the inequalities. Nothing wrong with fighting the inequalities. I'm all for that, right? I'm all for that. I was writing papers on that in 1989 at the African American Student Union the community college, right? So I understand that thoroughly than most. But at the same time, we have to figure out how can we get around these extra barriers financially that we're faced with, that we may be faced with. Yeah, a Hispanic woman makes 52 cents for every dollar a white male makes in America. She makes 52 cents. Latino woman, right? Half the money that he makes. So that means she's got a whole set of things that she has to figure out, right? How can she develop a strategy, a plan? Maybe she's going to have to live on a lot less if she's the head of household, right? She's going to have to figure out, okay, we need to shop here instead of here. We need to go here instead of, and I know lots of people are doing this already, right? But to get to the American dream or to get to becoming rich, what does she have to do? See, as people that believe that the American dream is still alive and you can still get rich starting from nothing, we have the responsibility to understand that Latino woman still exists in America. So our whole audience or our whole focus can't be, oh, forget her and let's just focus on the white male who makes more than everybody else. That's not what I want to do on this channel. I like to say, what strategies can we plan for that Latino mother of 2 or 3 or 4 who is making 52 cents on every dollar that the white male is making? She can do it too. But here's what she has to do a little bit differently, right? She has to first believe she can do it, right? She has to first say, okay, how can I maybe earn more money? What can I do to earn more money? How can I up my skills to earn more money? This is what she has to be telling herself. How can I up my skills? What do I have to do? I don't want to just be a nanny. I don't want to just be, a secretary. I want to be a chemist. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a doctor. I want to be an attorney, right? What do I have to do to get higher paying skills? I want to get a trade. She may be saying, hey, I want to be a plumber, right? Whatever it may be. How can she up her skills? How can she develop the belief, the mentality to say, I can get this American dream too, or I can become rich too, right? Maybe she has to become an entrepreneur, take her skills and be the best at what she does and get higher paying skills, right? Her plan, her strategy has to look a little different than other folks' strategy because she's making a lot less, right? But she's gonna do more good for herself by figuring out a strategy and a plan and goals and work it. She's gonna be more good than complaining about it, right? Nothing wrong with fighting for equal opportunities. I'm all for that. But in order to put food on the table, she has to come with a strategy, a plan that's different than John. Because John makes $100,000 a year. She makes $52,000 a year with the same education, right? With the same amount of experience. She's paid a lot less. So her strategy has to be different. We have to recognize that her strategy is different. But we also, in my opinion, I have to give her the hope and give her the tools that she needs to the practical tools, not the pie in the sky stuff, but the practical tools that we can write out on a piece of paper and we can set up and we can actually do, and I can hold her accountable when she gives me a call once a month. I can hold her accountable for here's what you did. How did you come up with this? How was your budget? Let's share screens on this Zoom call. How was your budget this month? What are we cutting in? What are we cutting out? How are we making sure we can get some more income? Where are you at in terms of reaching your goals, right? Where are you at? How was your action steps last week? Did you complete? Boom, 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 boom. We have to take that extra mile because of these inequalities and disparities that exist. But just because we have to take this extra mile, there's a lot of people that take these extra steps and do this thing that still become rich. Right? They still build wealth in America. So that's why I say two things can be true at once. All the isms can exist, but at the same time, the dream, parts of that dream are still alive. And you can still get rich and build wealth and get over $1 million net worth starting from zero. Right? That's my opinion. You can do it. I don't care if you're the two Russian immigrants that started Google, Alphabet, right? You can still do it, even with the disparities of skin color, the disparities of language barriers, the disparities that exist between how they treat a 60-year-old versus how they treat a 30-year-old, the ageism that's out there. It's still possible, right? Building generational wealth, yes, guys, it can still be done. Right? One of the things that helped me when I was young is that I was always, let me just share this with you guys in case you're dealing with young people. I was always taught that I could do whatever I put my mind to. That belief was instilled in me when I was 6 years old, 8 years old, 12 years old. Although we were poor, you don't talk about poverty when you're in poverty and you're 6 or 8 years old, 10 years old, right? We didn't know we were in poverty until you look back, right? We were just happy. You didn't know you're in poverty. But as I look back, some people ask me, well, how did you do it? How did you make it? So I've done some things where people say, tell us about how you made it. One of the most important things that helped me make it was my belief system. The belief about what was possible for me. If you lose that, your chances are low. Your chances are much lower if you lose the belief in yourself and your abilities. But if you have the belief, I don't care what situation you're in. You could be dirt poor, homeless, 13 years old on the streets. If you have the belief that there's more out there for you, your actions are going to ultimately follow your belief system. Your actions are going to ultimately follow what you believe about yourself, whether it's life or whether it's money. Your belief system. When I was 29 years old and I had a zero net worth, I had a negative 30,000 net worth. When I had that net worth, I still believed that wasn't the final place. That belief allowed me to go and start pursuing the young man, the handyman, to help me learn because I wanted to buy a house. I saw Carlton Sheets late night sitting on his boat. And I wanted to go out and I wanted to do that too. I said, I can do that too. I believed I can do it. And the belief is what prompted me to go get it. So what I talk about on this channel a lot with money in terms of can you still get rich, starting from nothing, right, is belief. That's number one. You got to believe that you can do it. If you don't believe, you won't try. If you don't believe, you won't even put the steps forward to do it. If you don't believe, you're already defeated. If you don't believe you can get out of poverty, you will always be in poverty. Right? Very few people are winning the lottery. But if you believe you can't be, you always going to be poor, then guess what? You're always going to be poor because your actions will follow your belief system in life and with money. So before the Latino lady who's a single mom and who's making $50,000 a year to the white male who's making $100,000 a year, the first thing that she has to do is believe that she can do it. That's what I'm here to change in terms of your mindset. That's why I give you these things to think about on the YouTube community channel. That's why I have these type of broadcasts to get out to people. That's why I say share this information because more people need to hear this sane, common sense, practical message about wealth building, right? Because a lot of times we usually get this way or we get this way. Right? We get the person that says, yes, the American dream is alive. Get off your butt and you can go do it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We get that person, or we get the other pendulum, the person that says, America's a scam. You can't do it. America's the biggest scam. Jobs are a scam. Right? We get that person. But there's some middle ground where I think most people lie is in the middle. That's what I believe. Most people ain't far left or far right. Most people are towards the middle. And that's the sanity that hopefully my channel can bring to you guys in terms of personal finances, building wealth, becoming rich, becoming wealthy, building a business, believing in yourself, right? Managing your money, managing your finances, right? Getting an emergency fund so that you're prepared in case something happens. Investing in the old you. The old you. The young you investing in the old you, right? That's where we need to be. More in the middle. More in the middle, right? So that you can believe two things at once. You don't have to be all the way here, all the way there. You can believe that racism exists, sexism exists, ageism exists. People are treated differently by where they come from and their language. They're treated differently. That exists. But at the same time, we got these extra barriers. We just got to be a little more flexible. Push this to the side, go around this, do this differently, come up with a plan, believe in ourselves. And no matter where you start, you can build. No matter where you're at, you can build, right? Because nowhere on the history of the planet has everyone been equal. It just doesn't happen. We're all individuals. We start at different places. That means all of us have different barriers that we have to overcome. My barrier is not your barrier. Henry Lake has a different barrier than Patrick Simon, right? Canty Enterprises has a different barrier than Check the Logic. We're all different. We all got problems, right? Even that white male has problems, right? The white male who makes $100 and everybody else who makes less than him. We all got problems. My thing is, how do we get over our problems where we are? What do we do financially? What do we do to get over these financial issues that we face? That's the kicker, right? So let me just see if what you guys are talking about in the chat here real quick. I haven't been in the chat in a while. If you're in 20s, 30s, and 40s and you have never experienced, you're just going to about what these folks would say. Let's see, visit Mississippi for a week and tell me if you still feel the same. My in-laws adopt 2 black guys and they have experienced it. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we want to be, let's be respectful to each other. Everybody has different opinions, guys. Everybody has different opinions. And listen, here's the kicker. You don't have to agree with me to be my friend. I want you to formulate your own thoughts based on your own experiences. Don't just listen to me when it comes to money, right? You have your own experiences when it comes to money. Everybody's got their own opinions. Yeah, Check the Logic says, Carlton Sheets got me too. Carlton Sheets got a lot of folks. You order those tapes or those CDs and he's chilling at 1 a.m. and the paid commercial, right, on his yacht. You know, he got a lot of us, right? But, you know, he opened up our minds. I could say that. Right? I could say he opened up our minds. So that's important. We don't have moderators in the chat yet, guys. So I'm moderating my own chat space, but let's keep it respectful if we can, guys. All right. So listen, hey, I don't want to hold you guys too long. I've had you for almost an hour and a half of your Saturday. I just want to say this, guys. Can you still get rich from nothing in America? I believe you can, but I also believe there are some barriers out there. There's some things that's going on out there in terms of some economy barriers, some isms out there, but you got to get around that. You got to believe in yourself and you got to get around that because there's barriers for everybody. But I do believe that there's definitely certain parts of the American dream that are still attainable. Guys, I appreciate you guys more than you know for being with me on this Saturday. Do me a favor, share this video. The best way to support this channel is to share this video. The link to the video. Smash the like button. We got to get our likes up. That really helps the algorithm. It tells YouTube that this is a good video, right? Share the video with somebody you know, guys. Family, friends, relationships, Facebook page, whatever, IG, whatever. Share it with as many folks as possible, guys. And listen, feel free if you're watching this on the repeat or watching it on a replay, feel free to drop a comment below. I want to know what you think about the American dream. Is it alive or is it dead? And can you still get rich in America starting from zero? All right, because I want to hear your thoughts. I always read all the comments, guys. That's one of the funnest parts of this whole thing is reading what you guys actually think, right? What you believe, right? Getting information because I still learn from everybody. So it's really important. But again, guys, I thank you so much for hanging in there with me. Please check out some other videos that are linked below in the description box of this channel. Really important videos that I think can help a lot of people. free, right? No charge. Check out your free 24 laws of money in the description box as well. Don't forget Mint Mobile as well, guys. I partnered with them on this video, and this channel is also about saving a lot of money, and you can save a lot of money at Mint Mobile. So, Miss V, go back and rewind this thing from the beginning and check it out, and drop me a comment and smash the like button for me. I want to hear what you think about this whole topic. All right, so hey, with that, guys, I'm going to jump out of here. I certainly appreciate you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much again. And you can always reach out to me. My contact information is in the description box as well. Guys, as I always say at the end of every single broadcast, the best person who's going to take care of the old you is the young you. All right? Guys, do me a favor. Take care of yourself and take good care of other people as well. Until the next video. Peace.